when he started out here today, we're not hurting as a movement. We're doing okay, we're growing, but it's the bigger credit unions that are growing. 25 years ago, mid-1970s, 30 years ago, we had 25,000 credit unions. Today, we only have 8,400 credit unions. Then we had 35 million members. We have grown. We have about 85 or so million members today. So we are growing, we are attracting, but it's the big few who are doing all the attracting and the small many who are hurting in this marketplace, and we need to be part of the marketplace. Now, Peter Drucker says, the biggest organizational challenge of the 21st century will be to change fast enough to survive. Look at these examples up here of companies, once powerful companies, that didn't change fast enough to survive. Polaroid, Wang Labs, Montgomery Ward, Tower Records. And I've thrown Chrysler and Blockbuster Video in there because they may disappear too. They've been out-innovated. Blockbuster, the former heavyweight champion of the video world, has been out-innovated by Netflix, and they're trying to respond to that. So how fast are you changing? How fast are you innovating in this world? How do we do it? How do we bring this innovation in? We have to create a technology transfer. We have to take what we're learning here at this wonderful conference, one of the best conferences, if not the best credit union conference in the entire country, and bring it back to our credit unions in some way that is productive in the process. And how do we do that? Well, it's tough to do it through board members. We are the directors. We are the governors of this organization. We are not the operations people. So how do we do it? There's a couple of ways to do it. There's a couple of ideas I'm going to give you right now, some ways to bring it into the process at your credit union. One of the things I want you to do here is be aware of how fabulous the teachers are in this conference here. You have all the big names in the credit union business. You have Jim Blane, you have Tom Glatt, you have Tom Farron, you have Rory Rowland, you have Dan Clark. Did I mention Tim Harrington by any chance? All the big names in the credit union movement are right here. Remarkable teachers. Use them. Get their information. Grab them. Buy their CDs. Get the information that they have and bring it back with you and ask them questions when you have them in their room. Get their business cards so you can call them and ask them questions. You're the most innovative vendors in the country out here. Gather that information. Use it. And we're going to put that back in some way back in our credit union. And part of the way we're going to do that is we're going to be unreasonable. What do I mean by being unreasonable? Now, first of all, before I read this, don't misunderstand. I work with credit union boards all the time, and trust me, there's no shortage of unreasonable credit union board members, okay? Keep that in mind. But this is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about creative unreasonableness. Look what George Bernard Shaw said. The reasonable person adapts to the conditions that surround him. The unreasonable person tries to adapt the surrounding conditions to himself. All progress depends on unreasonable people. Unreasonable means we don't want it to stay the way it is. We want it to change. Now, you have to do that kindly. You have to do it with diplomacy. And I'll tell you that when the CEOs in the room are hearing this, they're squirming. I'm never going to get a bit of business from them again because they already put up with enough of us nutty board members coming back with new ideas from these conferences. But I want you to go back, and I want you to be creatively unreasonable in this process. Creatively unreasonable. We have to reward innovation. We have to encourage innovation in our credit unions. And the CEOs out here, I just know what they're thinking. They're thinking, you're going to go back to your credit union, and you're going to come up with all these ideas. And they're going to say, what are you doing? I sent you to Las Vegas to have some drinks, enjoy a show, have some fun. What are all these ideas you came back with? Damn. How do we get stuck with this? Well, you have to do it in a certain fashion, in a reasonable way. And if they're saying, hey, Hank, what's all this idea stuff? You know, Hank, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, Hank, your answer needs to go back. If you don't think it's broke, you're delusional. If you don't think it's broke, you don't understand the problem. Because the model we're using is in so many ways broke. We can do it, we can change it, we can modify it, we can do it through innovation in the process. One more story about innovation. Whirlpool and Maytag were two competing companies. We all know who they were. They make washing machines. Been around for a long, long time. In about 2001, both of them were having some significant financial problems. Both of them almost went out of business. They both knew they had to do something to fix the problem. And they took very different tracks. Maytag decided to pull in the horns a little bit. They decided to close some manufacturing plants, lay off a lot of people, cut their product offering, and try to stabilize themselves as a smaller, stronger organization. Whirlpool had a very, very different idea. Whirlpool had a new CEO. Oops, I went to the wrong slide there, Richard. We have Wizard of Oz back here. Richard, if you could move back one slide, thank you. Whirlpool went a very, very different direction. Whirlpool said, you know what? We want to create in this organization a culture of innovation. We want one of our core competencies to be innovation. And they spent, as poor as they were, a whole bunch of money on how to create innovation in the workplace, to create the processes. You don't have to be a genius to be creative or an innovation. It's not invention. It's a process you go through of trying new ideas, attempting things, changing, feeling uncomfortable in the process. They went through this process, and does anybody know about Maytag and Whirlpool today? What happened recently with Maytag and Whirlpool? Whirlpool bought Maytag. They're the survivors. The ones who innovated are the survivors in this process. And you don't have to have lots of good ideas. Warren Buffett says you simply need one good idea per year. And there are lots of good ideas out there. Jim Blane's going to be talking right after me about payday lending. Payday lending is that marketplace that we've left behind, that marketplace that needs us so badly, and they are a good marketplace. You can make a lot of money in the payday marketplace if you do it right, and you can help the people in the process. Jim's going to tell you more about that. You might consider thinking about advertising guaranteed direct deposit. Credit unions already do this. If you have direct deposit coming in from an employer, and that doesn't arrive on Thursday when it's supposed to, you're going to give the people their money anyway. You just assume it's going to come in. Advertise it. Put it out there. Make it part of your market advantage. We guarantee that even if your paycheck doesn't arrive, you get your money. We're going to have it in your account. And consider this. How about guaranteed early deposit? That we're going to guarantee not only are you going to get it, but we're going to give it to you 2 days early. We're going to give it to you on Tuesday when your check arrives on Wednesday. Now you might say, well, isn't that going to cause some problems? Aren't our members going to bounce fewer checks and we're going to have less NSF and courtesy pay income? No, the damn fools will bounce their checks 2 days early. That's all they will do. And you will look good in the process up here. So keep that in mind. So how do we spot the next big thing? First of all, pick the right sessions. Go through and strategize with the folks you're here with and pick the right sessions. Talk to the new people you just met. Say, hey, stranger, hey, friend, we're new here, we're new friends here. What are you going to go see and why? Try to find the most creative, innovative, important meetings you can go to. And if there's a bunch of you from the same credit union, don't go to the same meetings. Get out, spread out, go to different ones so you can bring different ideas back. At the class, while you're there, write down 5 good ideas to bring back. For every class, try to find 5 good ideas. And if you're done and you didn't get 5 good ideas, raise your hand and ask the teacher, hey, I only got 4 good ideas. Give me one more to bring back. I want to get 5 good ideas from here. Also, as you go along here, as you leave or as the conference goes along, write down the biggest ideas. You want to get 5 big ideas from the whole conference to bring back to your credit union. 5 big, important, the best ideas from this conference. Also, find the 5 vendors who most impressed you with their products from this conference. Bring that stuff back too. And the 5 speakers, consultants who you thought had something valuable to bring their names back too. Put them at Harrington, Harring, just in case you're curious. Put them on your Rolodex. Now, how dated does that make me when I talk about a Rolodex in there? But I do it for a reason. It reminds me of a Rolex. What time is it? Yeah, who looked at the wrong wrist again? Just out of curiosity, who looked at the wrong wrist? Well, it's 10 to 10, and I have to wrap up here real quick. So how do we do this technology transfer? We have some good ideas. Write up a brief, what lawyers call a brief, a little short piece of paper that says, here are the 3 to 5, that you can present in 3 to 5 minutes. Here are the things that I think are important. Put your issue and your area there. Here's the problem we're facing or will be facing that this addresses or these address. Here are the opportunities open to us in this area. And then here are the 5 ideas from this session, from this National Directors Conference that I am bringing back to you, my board members, bringing back to you, the employees, the staff of the credit union. And then what do I think will happen if we don't do this, and what opportunities may be available to us if this do exist. And put the pros and cons in there, what the good sides are and the bad sides, balance it, but sell your idea as well as you can, and put a call to action in there. And then you want to fit that in your strategic planning process. Plans are important. Planning is important. I like what Eisenhower says about this. He was a great, great leader and a wonderful planner. He said, going into battle without a plan is foolhardy, but as soon as the shooting stops, the plan is useless. He also said, plans are everything. planning is everything, plans are nothing. The planning process is important. I have no idea what word I was going to say there, but important works just fine. It's essential. It's essential to our being innovative. Reward innovation. Don't be afraid of failure. I stood back there in the back of the room because I wanted to be innovative. Was that a good idea? I don't know if that was a good idea or not, but I'll see your evaluations, and I'll get some feedback. If I find out it was a bad idea, I won't do it again. But is that failure? No, that is feedback. Feedback, not failure. Keep that in mind. If you want to be innovative, you have to be open to the idea that sometimes you're going to make mistakes, your CEOs are going to make mistakes, but we want to reward the people to be innovative. There is a wonderful book, doesn't take long to read, that all of you should take a chance to read, by Peter Drucker. It is the classic book on innovation. It is called Innovation and Entrepreneurship by Peter Drucker. It is wonderful. It explains this stuff so well and how you can bring this process back to your credit union. With that, thank you very much for being such a wonderful audience. Have a wonderful, wonderful time here at the National Directors Conference. Take care. Thank you, Sam. Great job. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Well, you're thinking about things differently? Like you said, who knows if it works from starting in the back and coming up front, changing your watch. But at least you're thinking differently. Our next speaker is wonderful. I have a personal story to tell. It's interesting. The apostrophe, if you're familiar with that, it's one of the smallest marks you can ever find on a page. It's right after the S, right before the S. Either means it's possessive or plural. But my experience with our next speaker, Jim Blane, was we were putting together his session. We were talking about what he was going to talk about. We were writing up something to tell everybody about it. And he said, okay, fine, Ben, just one thing. And he was very nice about it, but he said, there's an apostrophe after the S in employees. He runs State Employees Credit Union in North Carolina. He said, there's an apostrophe that goes after the S in employees. And I said, oh,